The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Go Cowboys! This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw Dating, preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your hosts, Christy Scales, Aisha Morrison, Nicole Hutchison, and Jess Navarez.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome into SWBC Studio. While you're watching Girls Talk, Boys Talk. Listen, this is my first time hosting this show, but I'm going to have a lot of fun with it today. Nicole Hutchison here with Aisha Morrison, Christy Scales. Excited to be here with you guys. Now, of course, Christy, we've got to start with you. We lost, Cowboys Nation really lost all-fan favorite, Walt Garrison. You got to cover him in your time here. Just talk a little about how special he was and how much he's been under missed.
One of the all-time great quotes and one of the all-time, as you say, Nicole, fan favorites for the Dallas Cowboys, and his time, a real-life cowboy on and off the field. So a Denton native who grew up locally here in Louisville High School and starred there, but he was a real-life cowboy, rodeo cowboy, like a champion steer wrestler, did roping and stuff like that. And then for football, an all-time cowboy. After starring at Oklahoma State, he was drafted in the 5th round by the Cowboys in 1966 and played 9 years with the Cowboys, but still in the top 10 all-time rushing for the team. Moved from running back to fullback, was a kick returner, but it's the all-time quotes, and he's such a favorite that if you take even if you don't remember him playing, because it's been, over 40 years since he hung up his cleats, but you take a tour of the Star, and there's 2 different spots where you see him, and one is outside the scouting department. There's a list of some of the players who had either been drafted or signed as free agents, and it's their original bonus money. Wow. So, for example, Tony Romo was an undrafted guy. His bonus was $10,000. Okay, what do you think Walt Garrison's bonus would have been in the mid-1960s as a 5th-round draft pick? Think it would be, a few $1,000s,
like
or
$2,000, $3,000?
$2,000 or $3,000. We'll never know, because when I say that Walt Garrison was a real-life cowboy, he was a real-life cowboy, and his bonus from the Dallas Cowboys, he asked for and received a horse trailer so that he could take his
horse trailer?
A horse trailer, literally a horse trailer that he would pull, take his horses. Yeah, lived in Louisville. He would rodeo, and then the other spot where you'll see he was so hilarious, so many great quotes, especially about Tom Landry, who was always so stern and serious. And it's like, Walt, you ever seen Tom Landry smile? Well, no, but I've only been here 7 years so far. But anyway, in the atrium here at the Star, where we have the beautiful overhead lights, and all of our Ring of Honor members are there. It's in the floor. It'll be their names and their years, and if they're in the Hall of Fame. And there are some really hilarious quotes down there as well. And one is Walt Garrison, and he was talking about Tom Landry, and he says, Tom Landry was such a perfectionist. If he were married to Raquel Welch, he would expect her to cook. So he was just, he'll be missed. 79 years old at his passing, but a life well lived. And my first football memory as a little kid was actually Walt Garrison, number 32 for the Cowboys, wearing the white with the blue star on his helmet. And I always see him, and he's being tackled by number 55 for Washington, all-pro linebacker named Chris Hanberger, H-A-N. As a little kid, I thought it was hamburger. So that's what I remember. Walt Garrison taking the handoff from Roger Staubach. Remember, I was a little kid, and then getting tackled by somebody named Hamburger. Wow. But, he's I know that Cowboys Nation, it's a little darker today when you lose an all-time great like Walt Garrison, but it really was a life well lived.
Wow. Sounds like an amazing character that he had.
For sure.
Hilarious.
Hilarious. Yeah, and then he also, real-life cowboy, I remember his old Skull commercials, he would do for the snuff, Skull, just a pinch between your cheek and gum gives you real tobacco pleasure. We'd walk around school and say that. We, not PC anymore. tobacco. But yeah, he was well known, not just because of his Pro Bowl level play at fullback and running back, but just because of his oversized personality.
Definitely going to be missed, especially for Cowboys Nation. But let's get into some Cowboys talk now, guys. First off, I got to ask y'all, how are y'all feeling now that, practice has gotten back? The guys are back on the field earlier today. How do you feel the atmosphere was, today, Aisha?
I thought the guys seemed like they were in pretty good spirits. They really, you hear guys talk about turning the page and moving on, but it really felt like that's really what they're doing, and that they're really trying to just look forward to the next game. Doesn't feel like they're sitting on the loss the way that I think some people would expect them to. It seems like they really are just trying to get this win before the bye, because, baby, going into the bye with the loss hurts a lot more than just having to sit on it. So see how they respond.
Yeah, certainly some transactions.
With the practice reports, there were some, even though they have the extra day this week and used yesterday to make corrections from last week, there were still a lot of players that, the veterans, that still got another additional day of veteran rest.
Yeah, you had a lot of guys. Let's just talk about the transactions at tight end. Of course, Peyton Hendershot is not going to be playing. He's still on IR, but Sean McEwen activated to the 53-man roster. What do you guys think about that?
Well, it's going to be at least 4 games that Hendershot will have to miss when you go on IR, and he's already missed 2. So it's disappointing because, Hendershot is a guy, we had talked about it in the offseason, even coming in, about some of the cool ways they might be able to utilize him in the passing game or send him on some seam routes, that he could be a real downfield threat. And now missing 2 games, and then at least the next 4, obviously that ankle injury, they didn't see that it was coming around as quickly as they like. But McEwen is one of these real glue guys for this team, and has been one of those. He's also really great on special teams, and so that'll help with the void that we're having on teams.
Yeah, I think it's with Sean McEwen. He's steady. I always describe him as steady. Is that he's accountable. He's going to be there. And I call him Chippy, because he also is a guy that's physical when you need him to be as well. So him getting the opportunity to get back on the field, obviously, you wish Peyton Hendershot would have, inserted himself a little bit more into this offense. But this is just how things go, and you got a guy to come in and do the job at a pretty high level as well. So it's kind of a blessing, because that's not how things typically work out.
Yeah, I was told that
as far as McEwen being able to come up. So.
Yeah, because he would be a guy that's a 53-man roster. It's just that when they decided to go ahead and have Hunter Lipke on the 53-man, that's pretty much what cost McEwen his spot on the 53-man. But he had been called up the previous 2 weeks with Hendershot on the injured list, and not on injured reserve yet, but missing the last 2 games. And so you're only allowed 3 elevations off the practice squad, and he was nearing that. So no surprise that they would go ahead and put him on the 53-man roster. It's just disappointing that it's due to the Hendershot ankle injury.
Yeah. I mean, you guys, we've seen a little bit of what Sean can do, I think, last season. Just what do you guys feel like he can add to that tight end room?
I mean, he's just a steady blocker. He's one of the guys that does that well. You don't really see him in a whole bunch of receiving situations, but I do think he can make catches when he needs to. He has. Yeah. But he really is just a steady, very steady blocker. He's active, and he, like I said before, he brings that physicality that you want from the tight end position. And he's also versatile as far as where he can go on the line blocking as well. And I think that has value. Christy brought up the special teams, which is important too.
And he's the veteran leader of that room, which sounds kind of like, what? I thought he was on the practice squad and just getting signed. It's like, still, that is a very young room. McEwen has the most experience, and any of those guys, whether it's Jake or Peyton or Luke, would tell you that they have relied on him heavily.
How much would you guys like to see out of Jake Ferguson?
Oh, yeah.
This week against the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little bit yesterday defensively, just kind of what they do. They run cover 2, cover 4, so that leaves the middle of the field open. And so I'm really looking for them to attack the seams and give him some opportunities to make some plays. Also, too, I mean, the Chargers as a tackling team, they're not always sound tacklers. So with a gentleman like Jake who has yak ability, I think there'll be some opportunities there for him to take advantage of as well. So I'm looking for him to get going, but I'm looking for him to consistently be a part of the game plan. Like, it's your tight ends not being involved, it just makes it so much easier for defenses to key in on your wide receivers. Make them respect your tight ends and start, assigning someone to your tight ends. I think if Jake continues to play well, it'll take some pressure off of those receivers who are sometimes getting doubled, triple teamed in this, because they really are just like, you're not using your tight ends, so we're not going to play them. There's no reason. So that's going to be important. And then Hunter Lipke, I know a lot of people were worried about. I was looking for him on the practice report because I know a lot of people seen his hand being taped up or whatever the case may be, but he's not on the injury report, so it must not be nothing serious. So y'all calm down out there. Everyone's like, "What's wrong with Luke?" I'm like, y'all take a break. He's all right. That's important. I think he's going to be important to this game as well.
Yeah. Well, this offense, obviously, the talk has been all week, getting the ball to CeeDee Lamb, getting the ball to the receivers, getting the ball to the playmakers. I actually got a chance to talk to CeeDee Lamb, and he was in much better spirits than he was, obviously, post-game in that 49ers game. And he was just telling me that, like, he feels like he'll see a little bit more or get targeted a little bit more this game. And I know Mike McCarthy also talked about, in the press conferences this week, that that's the goal. They want to see him make a lot of more plays. What do you feel like is needed offensively? I know you mentioned Hunter Lipke, but out of these receivers, both of you guys, what do you feel is needed out of those guys?
Well, I think that if there are matchups and an opponent to get your passing game going, it's the Chargers. They're last in the league in pass defense, and we've referenced earlier in the week some of the injury issues that they've had in their secondary, and that they're still dealing with. How bad has it been with the Chargers? They basically traded J.C. Jackson. They shipped him back to New England for like next to nothing, just flip-flopping a couple rounds with the Patriots, and just had to eat that contract. I mean, they are paying a lot of money. They did not get that investment from J.C. Jackson, and in fact, he's going to count this year. He's still going to be on the hook. $11.5 million the Chargers are on the hook in dead cap this year, and yet they ship him out after just 4 games. So that's how bad it is in the secondary. But the fact that it looks like Derwin James would likely be back after missing a game, he's an all-pro caliber safety, and that will help them. But still, are you thinking the same thing I am, Aisha, in terms of that's the way to go after the Chargers, is that injury-plagued secondary?
Yeah, I was looking up some numbers on them, trying to get a good look at how much zone and how much man they play, because that was a big wrinkle that the 49ers threw out there last week, is that they typically are a zone team, but they decided to go man against the Cowboys. And, the coaches, that was something that they brought up. This is a copycat league. Just wondering if the Chargers might decide to do that, to go man a little bit more. I personally don't think that they got the corners to be trying to play around like that. However, you just never know if they decide to do that. But when I looked into the numbers, they run man 17.4% of the time. That ranks 25th overall in the NFL. And they run zone 81.9%, and that's 7th in the league. So Cowboys going to be going up against another vision defense, quote unquote, unless they decide to throw some wrinkles of man in there. You mentioned Derwin James. He's important to what they do because I believe he has 24 tackles from the safety position.
Yeah. He's physical.
Yes, they use him kind of as a robber. So that means he's kind of a cleanup guy. Yeah. So he's down there in the box, similar to kind of how Dono does things. So he's not doing a whole bunch in coverage. He's mostly playing near the line of scrimmage. So him coming back from injury, and also to just kind of how they play defense, they're trying to make you take the short underneath stuff. Yeah. And so you either gotta, attack the middle of the field, attack, the deep third of the field, and then maybe that'll open up things for them. Otherwise, they're going to be able to work the middle of the field intermediate, because you can also take advantage of their linebackers. Their linebackers are kind of like, I would describe them as reactionary. So they're not like reaction aggressive go downhill. They're kind of waiting for the play a little bit more than what I think you would like your linebackers to do. So you may have opportunities there, especially in the run game. So yeah, their defense is it's a defense that plays. I'm not trying to be mean. It's just not. It's such a different animal than what you just dealt with. It's definitely not the same intensity. But their defensive line is going to try to get home as well. So.
They're going to try to, but their rush is not near what the Cowboys faced with the 49ers.
Yes.
And 16 sacks, but 6 of them came from Khalil Mack going against the Raiders, and not taking anything away from Mack, but they were going against a rookie quarterback with the Raiders, Aiden O'Connell, that let's just say I think some veteran quarterbacks would have gotten rid of the ball more quickly or maybe recognized things. So good for Matt getting those 6 in the game, and but the Chargers just don't have the same rush and personnel up front 7 overall that the 49ers have.
Let's say, I like what you said there earlier, this is a copycat league. Let's say that the Chargers get out there and play a lot of man. What matchups would you guys say that you guys are most excited to see?
I mean, I guess the obvious easy one is Asante Samuel Jr. against CDE. I'm sure that's a matchup that would be fun for them. I mean, I think you can take advantage of their linebackers in man, in zone, let alone man.
Yeah.
Tater
Absolutely.
tots. Please, don't do. I wouldn't.
Tater tots. Get ready. Here we go.
I can't say that. I can't say tater tots.
No, we love it. We love it. That's a great 25 cents.
I was just looking at, since we were bringing it up, I was just looking at the Chargers injury report. I'm sorry. I hope I'm not doing your job for you. But yeah, Bosa didn't practice. He's dealing with Joey Bosa is dealing with a toe. He didn't practice today.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's a big deal.
Oh, huge deal.
Because Khalil Mack, we talked about it, he's taking the brunt of the double teams and stuff and getting chipped, because people really feel like if we can contain him, we can pass the ball. If he had Bosa on the other side, I'm sure he would be a lot more productive, but it's just so much easier to find him and to figure out how to keep him at bay right now. So that's a big deal that he's not practicing today to me.
Yeah, and matchup-wise, I want to go back. Nicole, you mentioned Jake Ferguson, especially there in the cover too. Yeah, let's get some matchups with Ferguson on some linebackers here.
Yeah.
Please, love it.
Please. Football gods.
Please.
All right, guys, we will be right back here on Girls Talk, Boys Talk. We'll be talking defense. Stick with us.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that 6th ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome into SWBC Studio. You're watching Girls Talk, Boys Talk. We're listening as well to Girls Talk, Boys Talk. I'm Nicole Edgerton, Aisha Morrison, Christy Scales, and the most action-packed motorsports experience in the world returns to Arlington. Head to AT&T Stadium this Saturday, October 14th for Monster Jam. Tickets are available now at SeatGeek.com, the official ticketing provider of AT&T Stadium. Monster Jam.
Oh, that is so much fun.
It sounds
it's great at AT&T Stadium.
I ain't never been.
It really is. We used used to have to wait until February to dirt month to get to that, and we'd have the bull, the bull riding and the monster trucks, and we'd have the motocross. But past few years we've gotten it early. So
Dirt month.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Yeah, because you have to roll up the football field and put the dirt out there at AT&T Stadium, and you'd have back-to-back weeks with the dirt events. So motocross, monster trucks, and then we would have the PBR. Yeah, and then we've also had the American, which is a great rodeo event, since we're on the topic of Walt, Garrison, and all-time great cowboys, real cowboys in rodeo.
Ain't PBR a beer?
PBR is awesome. I love it.
Is it a beer?
PBR, professional bull riders.
I mean, I know that, but ain't
You're saying is like the name of a beer.
Isn't PBR a beer? Ignore me. I'm so sorry, y'all.
It's okay. It's okay.
Sounds good. If it is, let's try it.
I feel like when I worked at Buffalo Wild Wings, there was a beer that was in a can. It was like I think it's PBR. I think it's what it's called. I don't know. Sorry, that's why I thought.
I stay away from beer. I can't do the beer, so I don't know. I don't really know.
Live a little.
All right. Well, we have a report. I'm assuming this is one of the Cowboys. Not Cowboys. Wow, we're the Cowboys reporters. Chargers reporters. He said Daniel Popper. Justin Herbert said he has not yet taken any snaps under center in practice this week. Doesn't expect to do it at any point this week in practice to avoid further injury to fractured finger, but Herbert said that will not preclude Chargers from going under center versus Dallas.
Yeah, so we're talking about Justin Herbert back in week 4. Remember, the Chargers are coming off their bye week, and it was a good, even though it's early in the season, it was important for them because not only have you had guys like Joey Bosa, who still may not be back, we had guys like Derwin James and things like that, but Justin Herbert suffered a fractured middle finger on his left hand. That's his non-throwing hand. So it's like, what's the big deal? He's not throwing with it. But you got to take, not only taking snaps under center, but handing off the ball as well.
Yeah.
So the way that they did it for the second half of that game against the Raiders in week 4 was they basically had a splint over the top of it and big bandaging and tape job. But it's no surprise that he wouldn't take practice snaps. I think that when he came in the game, there was a goal line or a short yardage situation where he was under center once, but the rest of the time he was in shotgun.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something to keep your eye on for, especially with how the Cowboys' defensive line plays. I was looking at the Chargers and how they run offense. I know we're gonna. Yeah. Sorry, my bad.
Go for it.
Yeah, I know we were gonna start talking about the defense against them, and it's just fascinating to just see how much translated for Kellen. Like when you look at Kellen Moore's offense, it's perfect for a guy like Justin Herbert, who likes to sling the ball around, who has the arm to do this and trust his arm. But I was just looking at how much they run and pass out of shotgun or as opposed to pistol and things like that, because you guys know I was fussing yesterday just about how much the Cowboys are doing everything out of shotgun. But, this is, you live, you learn out here. And so started to look into it a little bit more, and it's just interesting how much Kellen is using the pistol format. They're running out of pistol. And what pistol is, from how I've learned it, is when you're in the shotgun, you have 5 yards of depth, the quarterback does. And when you're in pistol, because a pistol's smaller, it's shorter than a shotgun, then you have 3 yards of depth. And it just gives you, from my understanding, it is just you can still do quick routes out of it. It's quick reads, things like that. But for you to do pistol, it also helps your running back. Most running backs like to run out of pistol because it allows them to have a little bit more of a running start, because when they're in shotgun, they're standing next to the quarterback. So that's a wrinkle that he's added to his offense that, the Cowboys didn't do a lot, and they've had success off of it. When they do it, they're running the ball well because they also do have tight ends that can block. So for the Cowboys defense, to me, it's also going to be shedding, tackling, getting these tight ends that they use, maybe not so much for receiving threats at this point. They use them mostly in blocking. You just shed and block and to go make the tackle. But that's just an interesting. It was an interesting watch just to see Kellen.
Yeah, it's fun.
Since we've been watching Kellen all these years, it's just to see him evolving and trying to add new things and trying to fit what his offense does now.
Yeah, and also having Eckler back is so important for him. And he had been out to the all-pro running back and just a threat catching the ball as well as running the ball. But he'd been sidelined with the high ankle sprain since week 1. And Joshua Kelly has done a decent job, really has, filling in. But to get someone like Eckler back, what I'm interested in, and of course they wouldn't, tell us as the visiting team, it's something that I might get from our own sideline just before the game, but will he be on a pitch count in terms of do they know that they're going to have to limit his number of plays just as he's working back from the high ankle sprains are serious, and so to be able to come back in 5 weeks is a good amount of time. But I would think that Eckler might even be on a pitch count.
He practiced in full today. From what I saw, he practiced in full today.
Yeah, practiced in full, but it'll be real important tomorrow because with a Monday night game, even though today is Thursday, it's really a Wednesday practice. And so how does he come tomorrow? If he's able to be full practice tomorrow, Friday, which again is really a heavy Thursday practice, then that bodes well for him for Monday night. So it's just going to be one of those things we, as the visitors, we really won't know until the game kicks off.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and dive into this new transaction. The Cowboys have signed.
Good segue to the running backs,
right?
Okay, come on.
Yeah, I mean the Cowboys signed Rashaan Evans, former Tennessee Titans linebacker, to kind of add to that depth. In that linebacker room. I know we were kind of light on that room with Leighton Vander Esch now missing 4 to 6 weeks because of the neck injury. And we actually got a chance to see him at practice and hear from him in the locker room. We've got sound. Let's go ahead and listen to that.
Bring me on board. It's definitely an exciting moment for me, and I'm definitely excited about it.
How do you fit into what DQ wants?
I think DQ, man, he's an aggressive coach. He coached at Atlanta, and I guess he saw some similarities in the way he coaches and his playing style and the type of players that he likes. So I think it meshed really well for him to be able to come bring me on board.
And how long do you think it takes you to get up to speed to what they want?
Oh, no, it don't take me too much. I think at this point right now, I was training all season really just to, be on a part of somebody's team. And at this point, they saw something in me, and now that I had the opportunity to be on the Cowboys, I'm ready whenever they're ready.
For those who haven't seen you play, what are they going to see?
Physicality. At the end of the day, I try not to, be too savvy in my words about how I play, but I think I try to leave it up to whatever's been shown on TV. So, I can't wait to that opportunity whenever that comes.
Have you been watching any of the Cowboys in general, and what have you seen from the defense?
Oh yeah, for many years. It's funny too to be able to have an opportunity to be able to play for the Cowboys. My mom and them, they love the Cowboys. My family love the Cowboys. So, they're very excited for me to be able to be a part of this organization.
How exciting is it for you to come in a situation where you're trying to help the defense get their groove back after what happened in San Francisco?
Oh yeah, I think still, even with the defense situation, I still think they're elite defense. Whatever key components that they're missing, whether it's something at linebacker, whether it's some just intensity, anywhere that I can fit in and try to help out. I think that's what I'm here to do. So. The defensive coordinator and also the coaches as well, they've emphasized for me to be able to just come in and fit in where I can, and I'm just excited for the opportunity.
You're training for this opportunity. What were the last couple of days like before?
It was actually pretty smooth. They made it a very easy transition for me. Just like I said, being able to come off the couch is not normal for me. But, at the end of the day, that's the thing about being a pro. You just got to be ready at any time. So, as soon as they made the call, I came and got my bags, packed my bags, and, made my way up here.
Is it going to help that?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good. You can tell he's excited, but he's also a guy that strikes you as one. It's like doesn't want to do a lot of talking. It's walk the walk instead of talk the talk. But what a great job by Cowboys personnel to be able to bring in a guy. It's not just the fact that he was a first-round pick out of Alabama by Tennessee. It's not just where he was selected, but this is a guy with so much experience. He has 67 starts in the league in 76 games. So most of those with Tennessee, short stint with Atlanta, and was on the Eagles practice squad last year. So to be able, like earlier in the week, the Cowboys brought in a rookie linebacker to practice squad out of Syracuse, Mikhail Smith. But to be able to get a guy like Rashaan Evans with all that experience and a little bit of knowledge, not necessarily the way Dan Quinn is running things now, but it's a really good move, and it's going to need to pay off pretty quickly here.
Yeah, he's a good fit.
Yeah.
He's a good fit, and it's crazy. It was cool hearing him talk about himself. I like when players know who they are and what they do well. And some of the notes I took from him, he came off of a really good year last year with Atlanta, especially tackle-wise. But he flows to the ball well. I think he sheds blocks pretty well as well, and that's something you're looking for. He's effective as a rusher, too. When they did use him as a rusher, he was effective there. He has a very fast first step, and even in practice today, even when he was just running drills, they were doing the drill where they're working on their leverage, so they don't want them to get too high, so they go under this thing. I thought it was a trampoline, y'all. It's not a trampoline. But they go under this thing that looks like a trampoline. I ain't gonna lie to y'all.
Yeah, it's like a tarp. They turn it flat, and this thing is to stay low.
And they get into their stance, and they just have to stay into their stance as they shuffle and they drive on the ball. And you could just see his initial quickness and his reaction is fast. It's fast. And when you talk about being aggressive, I think that's something that you're hoping, that the rest of it'll be something that also to the other linebackers adapt to, because this guy does have experience. And when you talk about a Leighton Vander Esch, he and Rashaan play the same. Damone Clark. They play the same position. Yeah. And so I think that's important. I talked to Damone Clark today about it, and he was like, I'm excited. He said, because he's essential to my growth. Mm-hmm. He's essential to my career. And I'm glad that he even has that mentality to start wanting to connect with Rashaan right away. And, yeah, so I think that there's times that he can overshoot because he's so aggressive, but I would rather that than for you to be hesitant and tosy as a linebacker. You can't be like that. You got to go drive on the ball and be decisive. And so his knowledge, I think, is going to help the second level of this defense. And yeah, I think he's a good fit, and I think that matters too, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because he's had other opportunities at other teams. I think he thinks he fits here, and you can kind of gather that from his personality and stuff so far.
Yeah, you mean fit not only in what he can bring on the field, but fit in his character and just the community of the locker room. Mm-hmm. You mean both ways with him?
I think he fits. I think he fits schematically, kind of what you need him to do, but also to his attitude. I think really suits what you are looking for right now from your linebacker position. And so if it's not, and I think you mentioned if he's gonna play. We don't know if he's gonna play this week or how that's gonna work. But it's when he is able to play, I think it's gonna help. If Micah is taking more snaps there, it'll help. He'll have the freedom. Him being a rusher, I think, is going to matter.
Absolutely.
It's going to matter at some point in time, because that gives Dan Quinn another piece if he needs to when he's mixing maybe snaps with Micah moving forward.
Yeah, and the quicker he gets up to speed and put into it by Dan Quinn, then the faster Micah can go back to playing defensive ends.
Yeah.
So,
Do you guys think there is a chance? We were just, what's today? Thursday? So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 4 days away. Sorry, my math a little bit.
That's okay, girl.
But no, just 4 days away from this game against the Chargers. Do you think there's a chance that we could see?
Well, the other thing is Damone Clark limited in practice with that shoulder injury. Yeah. So it may not be much of a choice. This may be dictated by how everyone is doing. You have to look at the whole unit and not just, hey, this guy up to speed. That's why when I mention him having so much experience, that's why that's so important, because you don't want to have to throw a rookie out there who's been a week as opposed to a guy who, has so much experience and just so much of a better option.
No, that's a good point, that it might be something that they just don't. You ain't got no choice like that. Yeah. But also too, Malik Jefferson is a guy that possibly might get some burn this week if Rashaan's not able to go. But if not too, there's another gentleman that I didn't even realize. I forgot that they had kind of moved him into this hybrid position with Tyrus Wheat.
Tyrus Wheat, yeah.
And so that's another gentleman that maybe could be one of those guys. I totally forgot that they had started working him at linebacker, because coming out of college, he was a DN. Mm-hmm. So that's another gentleman that I'm going to be kind of taking a look at a little bit more in this next couple of days to see if that's a possibility and how they're going to use him if they do decide to use him.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to keep this conversation going right after the break. You're watching Girls Talk, Boys Talk right here in the SWBC studio. We'll be right back.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that 6th ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from perfection. That's what we're looking for. Add a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and we've achieved absolute nacho nirvana. Because while you can pile those nachos high with every spicy, cheesy, savory topping, there's no topping a cool Pepsi finish. Nachos, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
You're watching Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw Dating, the official dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. We are here in the SWBC studio. I'm Nicole Hutchison, Aisha Morrison, and Christy Scales. We've got to keep this conversation going, ladies, about the Cowboys Chargers game. And we still got one more read. Head to the Pro Shop at Northeast Mall in Arlington, Texas, on Saturday, October 15th, between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. for Cowboys collections on tour. See rare team archives, customized headwear. Grab a gift with purchase and enter for a chance to win a giveaway. Stay tuned for more tour stops coming throughout the season. I'm getting used to this.
There we go.
Hosting, guys.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well done.
But let's go ahead and get this combo going. I know, Christy, you mentioned that the Cowboys are in their Nike color rush. They're all white.
Yeah.
Icy.
Yeah, Monday night, so it'll be the first time this year that they've been in anything other than their traditional white uniform with the seafoam pants and the silver helmet. What do you guys think of that? Aisha, do you like the all-white color rush?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I like it. I know the players like it. They like the change up.
They do.
It's cool. You look good. You play good. Let's see what they got.
Yeah, so it'll be the white helmet. Actually, they've been the past couple weeks. They've taken a day at practice and worn the white helmets as opposed to their silver ones. So I think it's a cool look. It's something that the NFL started back in 2015, and it was in collaboration with Nike. And so it started off where it was just going to be 4 games that year for some Thursday games, and it was something to help promote the Thursday night football on NFL Network. So there were just 8 teams that year that did Color Rush. But then with 2016, then all the teams did it, and you saw it more often, because throughout the year on Thursday night football, and then I think it was 2019 or 2018, it wasn't mandatory anymore that you needed to have a color rush and wear it at least once. But most of the teams still have a color rush, and they'll use it as one of their alternate jerseys, basically, separate from the alternate ones that the Cowboys have with the throwbacks, which we'll see Thanksgiving. But I think it's a cool look, as long as it's not the Jacksonville. Do you remember the first year they had the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it was kind of that goldish yellow, awful?
I have no idea.
I don't either.
Yeah. The best description was on Twitter that it was baby diaper kind of yellowish brown. It was just awful. But other than that, we like the color rush. So this will be 7 times the Cowboys have worn color rush.
I think when teams, because I went to Howard, so like when I was there and they played in all white, they played their best. So let's just hope that kind of lives.
Yeah, and last year was the first time that the Cowboys were able to use the white helmets with the color rush. And so, like Nicole said, it won't just be the white tops and bottoms, but for the second year in a row, they'll get to wear their white helmet with the blue star with their color rush. So it's going to look really cool at SoFi.
Pretty awesome. Okay, well, Cowboys gonna be icy on Monday, but no, guys, let's keep this conversation going. Now, one thing that I noticed and watched on film a little bit for Justin Herbert was that he's not as mobile as like a Jalen Hurts, but he is
he'll scramble.
He will scramble. And I saw in one play where he kind of like face masked one of the defensive ends and kind of shoved him.
Stiff-armed.
Stiff-armed him a little bit. I mean, he can make plays with his legs if he needs to, and that's been something that the Cowboys defense have really struggled with kind of a little bit in this season. So what do you guys feel like, I guess, is going to be challenging most about Justin Herbert?
I think what's the most challenging about him is that he's a risk taker too. I mean, he really trusts his arm strength. He has it, so he trusts his arm strength. So a lot of quarterbacks, when they're scrambling, kind of like how you talked about, when they escape the pocket, they can't throw a ball on the dime because they don't have the arm strength to marry it with because a lot of quarterbacks, their strength comes from their hips. It doesn't come from their arms. So when they're on the run, a lot of them can't make accurate passes on the run. This dude can. And not only is he looking to make passes or make plays, he's looking to make plays downfield. And so with him, I think that's what makes it difficult, is that you really have to play through the whole whistle with him, because he is going to continue to try to make plays downfield. He's a guy that doesn't give up on plays, really. And so it's a difficult thing to navigate as a defense, especially in this league that really takes care of quarterbacks as well. It's like, how do we, continue to be physical with him, or however the case may be. I just like his ability to improvise. To me, is what makes him great, and that's why they're good in the red zone too, because they're 5th in red zone touchdown percentage, and that's because even though that window is small, he can scramble and make plays, but those receivers work for him. They continue to work for him as well. And so I think that's impressive from him, from their offense.
I think you totally nailed it. And the thing is, when he's scrambling, it's not just to run to get downfield and get some yards. He still has his eyes up.
He's trying to hurt
and
you.
You have to be sticky in this game. If you're a defensive back, you have to stay sticky, because there is nowhere on this field that he cannot reach with that arm. And with the ability to extend the plays out of the pocket, oh my gosh, it makes it harder. You're going to have to cover 5-6 seconds at some of these plays. So that's why it's important for the Cowboys front seven, particularly the pass rush, keep him in the well. I'm using a Rod Marinelli term from our previous defensive coordinator, but keep him in the well. You cannot take these angles where you're allowing him to escape outside and throw on the run. Keep him in the well. Also, the pass rush up the middle, I think, is really key. Even though he's a big, tall guy, prototypical passer, he's everything that you want in a quarterback. But whether you're Tom Brady or whether you're, a rookie free agent making your first start, what's the one thing that you don't like? In your face. In your face. So I think it's going to be, keep him in the well, try and get as much pressure as you can right up in his face.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Their center. Yeah, their center. Will Clapp. We talked about it yesterday. He's come in. He's doing what he can, but there are opportunities, obviously, to pressure them up the middle. This offense really runs through Keenan Allen, though, man.
Yeah, he's a great wide receiver.
Just a lot of what Kellen is doing with Keenan rather, is the same things that he was doing with CD last year, just putting him in a slot, moving him all around and down the field. So if you can figure out how to contain him, it really makes a difference with their offense as well. But we were just talking about, Keenan he's a veteran. So he understands how to find soft spots. He understands how to sit in zones. And he plays the scramble drill extremely well. I think our corners will be tested with the size of these receivers, because they have huge tight ends, but their receivers also too are pretty big guys in comparison to the corners. Like their offense is so different. Them not having a speed threat, I believe, will matter, because there's not a lot of guys on that offense that are going to run past you besides an Eckler, in my opinion. So I'm looking at how our secondary fares against these guys with all of that size. But I think if they can figure out a way to contain Keenan Allen, it really does force the other guys to work for them. And they got some young guys over there. Mike Williams went down, so then they have
Quentin Johnson.
Yeah, they have Quentin Johnson, who's a great player, but it's a lot of 50-50 contested balls. And so I do think if the Cowboys secondary can cover well, they will have opportunities to take the ball away. I think we could see some tip passes. I think we could see those things, because he's not afraid to fit the ball into small windows, sometimes even if it's not there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love to watch Justin Herbert.
He's fun, but
and the other thing,
care.
he had the off-season shoulder surgery on the labrum, but you cannot tell. Mm-mm. So this is going to be a fun game to watch, and this is a huge test for this Cowboys defense. It really is.
Well, really quickly, guys, who are you guys expecting a big game from in order for the Cowboys to get this dub on Monday night?
Oh man, see that's a tough one.
One offense, one defense.
You know what? Let's see how Micah comes back after that disappointment of that. We talk about the pressure. I'm real interested to see, as we're anticipating that he'll be having to do some of the linebacker snaps as well. So defensively, he's a guy that I'm really going to be keying on.
I would say Jake Ferguson. I mentioned him earlier, but their linebackers can be taken advantage of in certain spots, and so I really just think, maybe that's not a good way to word it, they can be you can take advantage of the matchup with their linebackers. So I'm looking at what he does over the middle of the field and what he can do with some seam work and also getting some yak yardage as well. Mm-hmm. So I think he needs to be featured on this offense, and I believe that this is a good place to just start and to continue from there.
Who you got, Nicole? Ooh. Dak. I mean, he needs to rebound.
Honestly, Dak. I mean, quarterback play was not great last weekend. We already know that. Yeah. And I really want to see him trust himself and make better decisions. I don't think I saw that. I really haven't seen that because he hasn't been forced to really drive downfield the past couple of games until the 49ers game. So I really want to see what kind of decisions he makes when you aren't getting those short fields, and the defense may not. Who knows if the defense actually comes to play on Monday. Hopefully they do. But I want to see him make better decisions. I want to see him get the ball downfield. I want to see the receivers and get a lot of guys involved. So I would go with the quarterback play.
Yeah, it might be opportunities for him to use his legs too, because this defense does a lot because they're in zone, but also too because they play off a lot. Yeah. They're not playing up in your face, and so if things collapse in that pocket, definitely want to see him use his legs and take advantage of those opportunities with the soft coverage sometimes that this Chargers defense plays with. Yeah. So yeah, girl, let him get going.
Well, we're going to see you on Monday night. That'll do it here at Girls Talk, Boys Talk. For Christy Scales, Nicole Hutchison, Aisha Morrison, we will see you guys next week.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!